The invasion begins. The massive warship tore through the darkness of space like a blade cutting through silk. Its hull stretched for miles, covered in weapons that had destroyed countless worlds. Inside the command center, Admiral Zekthor stood tall, his 4 eyes fixed on the blue planet below. "Earth," he said, his voice cold and confident. "Another primitive world, another easy victory." His second officer approached holding a datapad. "Admiral, the scan results are strange." Zekthor turned. "Strange? Explain." "The planet's dominant species, humans. Our system labels them as Class 5 apex predators. But that must be wrong. Look at them." He pointed at the screens showing Earth's cities. No orbital defenses. Simple weapons. They still fight among themselves. Zekthor laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the chamber. "A computer error, nothing more. I have conquered 847 worlds for the Vrax Empire. Not once have we failed. Not once have we retreated." He raised his hand. "Prepare the invasion force. This will take 1 day, maybe less," the crew cheered. To them, Earth was just another name on a long list of defeated planets. Below, on Earth, nobody knew what was coming. The first strike hit New York City at dawn. Massive energy beams cut through buildings like they were made of paper. People screamed and ran. The sky filled with alien ships, dark, angular, terrifying. "This is not a drill." The emergency broadcast echoed across every device. "We are under attack! Seek shelter immediately." Governments scrambled. Military bases went on high alert. World leaders made frantic calls to each other. But what could they do? Humanity had never faced anything like this. The Vrax troops descended in drop pods. They were 7 feet tall, covered in armor, carrying weapons that fired plasma bolts. They had done this hundreds of times before. They expected fear. They expected surrender. They got something else entirely. At a small military base in Colorado, Captain Sarah Chen watched the alien pods land just outside the fence. Her hands shook as she gripped her rifle. Around her, 24 soldiers stood ready. They were scared. Terrified, actually, but not one of them ran. "They're coming," someone whispered. The alien soldiers emerged from their pods, moving in perfect formation. They raised their weapons, expecting the humans to flee or beg for mercy. Captain Chen raised her hand. "Hold, hold!" The aliens came closer. "Now!" The humans opened fire. Bullets tore through the air. The aliens' shields absorbed most of the damage, but not all. 2 aliens fell. Then 3. The Vrax soldiers stopped, confused. Why were these primitives fighting back? Why weren't they running? "Keep firing!" Chen shouted. "Don't give them an inch." One soldier ran out of ammunition. Instead of retreating, he grabbed a grenade and charged forward. The explosion took down 4 more aliens. The Vrax commander at the base assault spoke into his comm device. "Command, this is Ground Team 7. We're meeting resistance. Heavy resistance." "Resistance?" The voice crackled back. "Impossible. Continue the assault," but it wasn't impossible. Across the planet, similar scenes were unfolding. In Tokyo, civilians threw Molotov cocktails from windows. In London, police officers held their ground with simple pistols against plasma rifles. In Cairo, soldiers used construction equipment as weapons when their ammunition ran out. The aliens had conquered hundreds of worlds, but those worlds had surrendered quickly. A show of force was usually enough, but humans didn't understand the concept of smart surrender. Back on the command ship, Admiral Zekthor stared at the reports flooding in. His confidence was cracking. "Sir, casualties are higher than expected," his officer said quietly. "How many?" 247 dead, 600 wounded, and we've only been here for 3 hours. Zekthor's 4 eyes widened. In most invasions, they lost maybe 10 soldiers. Total. "What's wrong with these creatures?" he muttered. "Why don't they run?" Another officer spoke up. "Sir, I've been analyzing their behavior. It's unusual. When we attack, most species flee to safety. Humans, they run toward the danger. Parents run toward threats to protect their children. Soldiers run toward us to buy time for others. It doesn't make sense. They're irrational," Zekthor said. But his voice wasn't confident anymore. A message came through from Ground Team 12. The voice was panicked. "Command, we need immediate evac." They're not stopping. We wounded their leader and they got angrier. What kind of species gets stronger when you hurt them?" Zekthor felt something he hadn't felt in years. Doubt. He pulled up Earth's file again, looking at that warning he had ignored. Class 5 apex predators. Computer, he said slowly. Explain classification, apex predator. The computer's voice was calm and factual. Apex predator, a species with no natural enemies, top of the food chain, characterized by aggression, persistence, and unwillingness to surrender survival advantage. Zekthor's blood ran cold. Sir, another officer interrupted. We're receiving a transmission. From the humans. Put it through. A human face appeared on the screen. An older man in a military uniform. He looked tired, but his eyes were hard as steel. This is General Marcus Hayes of Earth's United Defense Command. You came to our planet. You attacked our cities. You killed our people. He leaned closer to the camera. You made a mistake. We're giving you one chance. Leave now, or find out why humans are the only species on their planet that hunts for sport. The transmission ended. Silence filled the command center. Sir, the officer's voice was small. What are your orders? Admiral Zekthor stared at the planet below. For the first time in his career, he wondered if the Vrax Empire had finally found a world they couldn't conquer. Send for reinforcements, he said quietly. All of them. On Earth, in a hidden military facility deep underground, scientists worked frantically at computer terminals. Lights blinked. Machines hummed to life. A woman in a white coat turned to her colleague. The Admiral authorized it. We're going to Protocol Defiant. Already? We're really doing this? She nodded, a grim smile on her face. They wanted to see what humans can do. She pressed a button. Let's show them. Across the facility, weapon systems that had been hidden for decades began powering up. The invasion had only just begun, and the aliens had no idea what was coming. The galaxy's mistake Admiral Zekthor stood in his command center, waiting. He had called for reinforcements 3 hours ago. The Vrax Empire's second fleet was on its way. 50 more warships, 20,000 more soldiers. Surely that would be enough, but the reports from the ground kept getting worse. Sir, Ground Team 15 is requesting evac. They've been fighting for 6 hours straight, and the humans, they won't stop. 6 hours? Zekthor's voice cracked. Our soldiers need rest after 2 hours of combat. How are these primitives still fighting? The officer checked his datapad, confused. I don't know, sir. According to our scans, they should be exhausted. Their bodies should have given up. But they just keep going. What the Vrax didn't understand, what they couldn't understand, was something simple. Humans were different, very different. On Earth, in the Sahara Desert, a Vrax patrol squad had been chasing a group of human soldiers for 8 hours. 8 hours of running through blazing heat. They must stop soon, the Vrax squad leader said, breathing heavily. His species came from a cool, peaceful planet. They weren't built for this. But ahead of them, the humans kept jogging, not even running anymore. Just a steady, relentless pace. One human looked back and actually smiled. What's wrong? He shouted. Getting tired. The Vrax soldiers didn't know they were experiencing something called persistence hunting. The same technique human ancestors used to hunt animals thousands of years ago. Humans didn't need to be fast. They just needed to never stop. One by one, the alien soldiers collapsed from exhaustion. The humans circled back and took them prisoner. Back on the command ship, Zekthor was reading a file that terrified him. A file about Earth, Death World. He read aloud. Planet classification Class 9 Death World. His science officer nodded. I did more research, sir. Earth is one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy. Most life-bearing worlds are calm, stable. Earth, it has ice ages, massive storms, earthquakes, volcanoes, and thousands of predator species. But we saw their cities. Their civilization? Yes, sir. They built that civilization despite their planet trying to kill them. For millions of years, everything on Earth was trying to eat them, freeze them, burn them, or poison them. So they evolved to survive anything. Zekthor felt sick. What else? The science officer pulled up more data. Their endurance, we already know about that. But there's more. Human bone density is incredible. They can survive impacts that would shatter our skeletons. Their pain tolerance, he paused. Sir, we have reports of humans fighting with broken bones. One human soldier continued fighting for 20 minutes with a piece of shrapnel in his chest. That's impossible. I have the video footage, sir. Zekthor didn't want to see it. What else? Their diet. Humans consume things that would kill most species. They drink a poison called alcohol for fun. They eat plants that cause pain called spicy food because they enjoy it. They ingest a stimulant called caffeine daily. Sir, humans regularly poison themselves and have built up tolerances. Zekthor sat down heavily. Anything else? The science officer hesitated. Yes, sir. One more thing. It's strange. Tell me. Humans have something called pack bonding. On their planet, they domesticated wolves, apex predators, and turned them into companions called dogs. They adopt other species as pets and family members. Sir, there are reports of humans bonding with our scout drones. One soldier named his combat robot and talks to it like a friend. They bond with everything. Everything, sir. They even bond with their enemies. We captured several humans yesterday. Our troops expected them to be hostile. Instead, the humans shared their food with the guards. One human asked if our soldier was okay because he looked tired. Zekthor didn't know what to say. These creatures made no sense. In a human prison camp, a young Vrak soldier named Krill sat in a cell, terrified. He expected torture. He expected death. Instead, a human medic came in. You're wounded, the medic said. Let me look at that. Why? Krill asked, confused. I'm your enemy, the medic shrugged. Geneva Convention. We have rules for war. Even enemies get medical care. Rules? For war? Krill had never heard of such a thing. But why would you have rules? War is war. The medic bandaged Krill's arm carefully. Because we're human. We fight hard, but we don't lose our humanity. That's what makes us different. Later, Krill was given food, real food, not rations. A guard even gave him a blanket when he looked cold. I don't understand you, Krill said to the guard. Yesterday I was trying to kill you. Today you bring me a blanket. The human guard smiled sadly. Yesterday you were a soldier. Today you're a prisoner. Tomorrow, maybe you'll be a friend. Who knows? Krill realized something terrifying. Humans didn't just fight better than other species. They were more complex, more unpredictable, more everything. On the command ship, Zekthor received a message. The Second Fleet had arrived. Admiral, we have reinforcements. Shall we begin the full assault? Zekthor looked at Earth on his screen. The blue planet suddenly seemed much more dangerous than before. Yes, he said, though doubt filled his voice. Begin the assault. All forces. The officer saluted and left. Zekthor turned to his science officer. Tell me honestly, can we win this? The science officer was quiet for a long moment. Sir, I've been studying human history. They've been fighting wars for 10,000 years. Not wars against aliens, wars against each other. They have experience with every type of combat. Guerrilla warfare, naval warfare, air combat. They've written thousands of books about strategy. They make entertainment about war, movies, games, simulations. So they've been training for this their entire existence. Every human child grows up watching stories about alien invasions. They've imagined this scenario 1,000,000 times. The science officer looked Zekthor in the eyes. We're not fighting an inexperienced species, sir. We're fighting a species that has been preparing for us for generations, even though they didn't know we existed. Zekthor felt cold. In a bunker beneath Colorado, scientists worked frantically. General Hayes stood watching them, arms crossed. How long? He asked. Protocol Defiant will be ready in 6 hours, a scientist replied. Every experimental weapon, every prototype, every secret project we've been working on, it's all coming online. Hayes nodded. Good. The aliens brought their reinforcements. Time to show them what humanity really looks like when we stop holding back. Another officer approached. Sir, we're getting reports from around the world. Civilians are joining the fight. Hackers are disrupting alien communications. Engineers are building weapons in their garages. Everyone wants to help. Hayes smiled grimly. Of course they do. The aliens made one mistake. What's that, sir? They united us. For the first time in human history, every nation, every person, every human on Earth has the same enemy. We're not Americans or Chinese or Europeans anymore. We're humanity, and humanity doesn't lose. On the screens behind him, satellite feeds showed something remarkable. Around the world, old enemies were working together. Countries that had been rivals for centuries were sharing resources. Soldiers who spoke different languages fought side by side. The aliens had done something no human leader ever could. They had made humanity one. Admiral Zekthor watched his invasion force descend on Earth. 50 ships, 20,000 soldiers, enough firepower to level continents. But in his heart, he felt something he had never felt before. "Fear, sir," an officer said. "We're detecting massive power surges across the planet. Multiple locations. They're activating something." "What?" "Unknown, sir. But the energy readings are off the scale." Zekthor stared at the planet. "What are you hiding down there?" he whispered. On Earth, in 100 secret facilities, lights blazed to life. Weapons hummed, computers calculated. Humanity's hidden arsenal, decades of secret preparations, was waking up. General Hayes pressed a button on his console. "All units," he said calmly. "Protocol Defiant is active. Show them what we've been building. Show them why you don't attack Earth." Across the planet, doors opened. Weapon platforms rose from underground silos. Experimental aircraft took flight. Soldiers equipped themselves with technology the aliens had never seen. The real war was about to begin, and this time, humanity wasn't defending. They were hunting. Humanity unleashed. The Vrak's Second Fleet descended on Earth like a metal storm. 50 warships, weapons charging, ready to end this rebellion once and for all. Admiral Zekthor watched from his command ship, confident again. "They can't stand against this. No species can." Then his screen went dark. "Sir, all our communications just went offline." "What? How?" In a basement in Seoul, a 19-year-old hacker named Minjun cracked his knuckles and smiled. "Got you." Around him, 50 other hackers from 12 different countries worked furiously. They weren't soldiers, but they were fighting their own war. "Their encryption is good," a woman from Brazil said. "But it's not impossible," Minjun laughed. "They made their code too logical. Too perfect. Humans don't think perfectly. We think creatively." His fingers flew across the keyboard. "I'm treating this like a video game puzzle, and I've been gaming my whole life." Within minutes, false coordinates flooded the Vrak's navigation systems. Enemy ships started receiving fake orders. Chaos spread through the alien fleet. On the command ship, officers shouted over each other. "We're getting orders to fire on our own forces. Navigation is showing Earth in 3 different locations. Someone is playing music through our comm system." That last one was Minjun's touch. He had hacked their speakers to blast rock music. "Thought you might enjoy some Earth culture." He typed in their language, which he had learned in 3 days. But the real surprise came from above. "Sir, multiple contacts emerging from Earth's atmosphere." Zekthor stared at his screen. Dozens of ships, human ships, were rising to meet them. But these weren't the primitive spacecraft they had seen before. These were sleek, armed, dangerous. Where did those come from? Zekthor demanded. What the aliens didn't know was that humanity had been building these ships in secret for 40 years. Every science fiction movie, every alien invasion story, humanity had taken them seriously. World governments had quietly prepared just in case. Just in case someone came from the stars with bad intentions. "All fighters, this is Alpha Leader," a calm voice said over human communications. "Engage at will. Show them what test pilots can do." The human fighters moved in ways that should have been impossible. Spinning, diving, accelerating at speeds that would kill most species. A Vrak's pilot watched in horror as a human fighter pulled a turn that created 8 G-forces. Impossible. No pilot can survive that. But humans could. Humans had been training for extreme G-forces for decades. Fighter pilots wore special suits and had learned techniques to keep blood in their brains during violent maneuvers. The human pilot, Sarah Hawk Rodriguez, grinned despite the crushing pressure. "You boys wanted a dogfight? Let's dance." Her fighter spun around an alien ship and fired. Direct hit. The alien vessel spiraled away, damaged. Across the battlefield, human pilots were doing the impossible. They flew like they were insane, because compared to every other species in the galaxy, they were. On the ground, Protocol Defiant was fully active now. In the Nevada desert, massive railguns emerged from underground bunkers. They had been hidden for decades, waiting. Now they aimed at the sky and fired. Metal projectiles screamed upward at hypersonic speeds, punching through alien shields like they were paper. In the Atlantic Ocean, submarines surfaced. Not regular submarines, experimental ones carrying electromagnetic pulse weapons. They fired, and entire sections of the alien fleet went dark. In Tokyo, a scientist named Dr. Yuki Tanaka activated something even stranger. Initiating gravity disruptor, she said calmly. 3 alien ships suddenly found themselves pulled downward by artificial gravity. They crashed into the ocean, their crews stunned. How? One alien officer gasped. They shouldn't have this technology. But humans did. Not because they were more advanced, they weren't. But because humans had imagination. They had watched sci-fi movies, read books, dreamed impossible dreams. Then they had asked, why not? Why can't we build that? So they did. Admiral Zekthor was losing control of the battle. This wasn't possible. It shouldn't be happening. Get me a ground report, he shouted. Tell me we're at least winning on the surface. The report came back. It was worse than he imagined. In Moscow, a squad of Vrak soldiers had taken cover in a building. They were surrounded, outnumbered. They waited for the final assault. Instead, a human voice called out, "We know you're in there. Come out with your hands up." The Vrak's commander was confused. Why don't they just attack? I don't know, sir. They emerged, weapons down, expecting to be killed. Instead, they were taken prisoner, treated well, given food and water. One Vrak soldier, wounded, was carried to a medical tent by a human medic. Why? The alien asked. Why help me? The medic looked at him seriously. Because that's what we do. We're not monsters. We fight hard, but we fight fair. The Vrak soldier thought about his own people. The Vrak's empire didn't take prisoners. They didn't have rules for war. They just conquered and moved on. These humans were warriors, yes, but they were something else too. Something the galaxy had never seen before. Back on the command ship, Zekthor was reading through human history files. His officer had been right. Humans had been fighting wars forever. He read about Alexander the Great, Napoleon, Sun Tzu, Genghis Khan, Hannibal. Names that meant nothing to him, but should have been warnings. He read about battles where humans fought impossible odds and won through sheer determination. About sieges that lasted years, about soldiers who never surrendered. He read about Stalingrad, where humans fought building to building for months in winter. About Thermopylae, where 300 soldiers held off thousands. About countless last stands where humans chose death over surrender. They glorify their warriors, Zekthor whispered. They write songs about their battles. They remember their heroes for thousands of years. His science officer nodded sadly. War isn't something they do, sir. It's part of their culture, their history, their identity. On the screen, another human ship destroyed a Vrak's cruiser. They've been fighting each other for 10,000 years, the officer continued. Perfecting tactics, developing strategies. They have academies dedicated to studying warfare. Sir, we walked into a planet full of trained warriors and expected them to surrender. Zekthor felt numb. In Washington, D.C., General Hayes watched the battle unfold. His staff was cheering. They were winning, but Hayes didn't cheer. He understood the cost. Every alien ship destroyed meant lives lost. Every battle won meant good people died. Sir, an aide said, the aliens are retreating, pulling back to regroup. Hayes nodded slowly. They'll come back. Bigger force, more ships. Can we win that fight? Hayes was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled, sad but determined. Kid, humans have been the underdog for our entire existence. Our planet tried to kill us for millions of years. Ice ages, predators, diseases. We survived it all. You think some aliens are going to stop us now? He pressed a button on his console. All units, maintain pressure. Don't let them rest. Use guerrilla tactics. Hit and fade. Make them afraid. Around the world, human forces obeyed. They didn't fight like the Vraks expected. They used tactics from Vietnam, Afghanistan, ancient Rome. They adapted. They improvised. They did what humans do best. They survived and fought back. In orbit, something was changing. Some of the alien ships were stopping. Sir, a Vrak's officer reported nervously. We're receiving messages from other species in our fleet. The Tarlax, the Minori, the Kresh. They're questioning the invasion. What? They say they're impressed by the humans. They're asking why we're attacking a species that shows both strength and mercy. They're saying maybe the Empire is wrong. Zekthor felt his world crumbling. The Vrax Empire controlled dozens of species, but that control was based on fear and the belief that the Empire was invincible. Humanity was breaking that belief. One Tarlac ship commander sent a message directly to Zekthor. "We've fought many battles for your empire. We've conquered many worlds. But these humans, they fight with honor. They spare the defeated. They have rules for war. Maybe we've been following the wrong leaders." Zekthor deleted the message, but he knew the damage was done. If other species saw humans resist successfully, they might resist too. The Empire wasn't just losing a battle, it was losing its grip on the galaxy. In a bunker deep underground, a human soldier sat writing a letter to his daughter. He knew he might not survive the war, but he wrote anyway. "Dear Sarah, if you're reading this, it means I didn't make it home. But don't be sad. We fought for something important. We showed the universe that humanity won't bow down, that we protect each other, that we never give up. Remember this, you come from warriors, from survivors, from people who faced the impossible and laughed. Be proud of that, be strong, and never ever surrender who you are. Love, Dad." He sealed the letter and went back to his post, ready to fight again, because that's what humans do. Admiral Zekthor made his decision. "Recall all forces. Pull back to defensive positions." "Sir, you heard me. We're not winning this. We need to call for the main fleet." The entire Vrax armada. His officers looked shocked. The entire armada had never been deployed. It consisted of 500 warships. It would take a week to arrive. But Zekthor had no choice. "Send the message. Tell the Emperor we need everything, because we're not fighting a primitive species anymore." He stared at Earth, that blue marble that had shattered his confidence. "We're fighting apex predators who just woke up and realized they're the strongest thing in the room." On Earth, sensors detected the alien fleet pulling back. "They're retreating," someone shouted. But General Hayes didn't celebrate. He looked at the data streaming in. "No, they're regrouping. They'll be back, bigger, stronger. Can we win?" Hayes looked at his staff. Tired faces, determined eyes. "I don't know, but I know we'll fight. That's what we do." He turned to address the room. "Get some rest. Repair what you can. Prepare for the next wave, because they're coming back. And when they do, we show them that attacking Earth wasn't just a mistake." He smiled grimly. It was the biggest mistake they ever made. The legend begins. 7 days later they came. The sky above Earth turned black with ships. Not 50 this time. 500. The entire Vrax armada. Every warship, every soldier, every weapon the Empire possessed. Admiral Zekthor stood on his flagship, staring at Earth. This ends today. No more surprises. No more defeats. We crush them completely. Behind him stood the Emperor's personal representative, a cold-eyed Vrax named Thane. "The Emperor is watching, Admiral. Do not fail again." Zekthor nodded stiffly. He wouldn't fail. He couldn't. Not with these numbers. On Earth, warning sirens echoed across every continent. General Hayes stood in the command center looking at the screens. 500 ships. "The odds were impossible, sir," an officer said quietly. "We've run the numbers, even with everything we have. We can't win this." Hayes was silent for a long moment. Then he picked up the microphone that connected to every military base, every resistance cell, every human fighter across the planet. "This is General Marcus Hayes. By now, you all know what's coming. 500 alien warships. They think this is the end. They think we'll surrender when we see those numbers." He paused. "They don't know us very well, do they?" Across the world, tired soldiers smiled grimly. Humanity has faced extinction before. Ice ages, plagues, wars, every time we survived. Not because we were the strongest or the fastest, but because we never quit. Because we protect each other. Because we are humanity and we bow to no one. He took a breath. "So here's what we're going to do. We're going to fight. With everything we have. Every ship, every weapon, every person who can stand and hold a gun. We're going to show these aliens what it means to threaten Earth, and if we die, we die standing." The channel erupted with voices, soldiers shouting agreement, people crying and cheering at the same time. Hayes turned to his staff. "Launch everything. Every ship, every missile, every secret weapon we've been saving. It all goes up, sir. That will leave us defenseless if we fail." Hayes smiled. "Then we better not fail." The battle began at dawn. Human ships rose to meet the alien fleet, a tiny force against an ocean of metal. It should have been a slaughter, it was. Just not the way the aliens expected. Captain Maria Santos piloted her fighter directly into the enemy formation. "Come on, you ugly bastards. Let's see what you've got." Her ship danced between alien fire, impossibly fast, impossibly precise. She had been a test pilot before the war. She had survived crashes, explosions, engine failures. A little alien invasion wasn't going to stop her. She fired missiles, destroyed 2 alien fighters, then dove toward a capital ship. Her computer screamed warnings. She ignored them. "Maria, what are you doing?" Her wingman shouted, "Something crazy." She armed her last missile and flew straight at the ship's bridge. At the last second, she fired and pulled up hard. 8 G-forces crushed her into her seat. Her vision dimmed. She tasted blood, but she held on. The missile struck home. The capital ship's bridge exploded. The massive vessel listed to the side, out of control. "Did you see that?" Her wingman screamed. She just killed a capital ship with a fighter. Around the battlefield, other humans were doing equally impossible things. A bomber pilot named James ran out of ammunition and used his damaged ship as a battering ram, destroying an alien weapons platform before ejecting. A squadron of pilots formed a defensive line and held it for 2 hours against 50 enemy ships. 3 survived, but the line never broke. On the ground, a single soldier named Corporal David Kim held a mountain pass alone for 3 hours after his entire unit was evacuated with wounded. He had 1 rifle, limited ammunition, and pure determination. Wave after wave of alien soldiers came. He shot until his rifle overheated. Then he used grenades. Then his sidearm. Then a knife. When reinforcements finally arrived, they found him still standing, surrounded by alien bodies, bleeding from a dozen wounds. "Corporal, why didn't you fall back?" an officer asked. David looked at him like he was crazy. "Fall back and let them through. This is my planet, my home. You don't give up your home." In orbit, Admiral Zekthor watched the battle with growing horror. They were winning. They had the numbers, but the humans were making them pay for every inch. "Casualties?" he asked quietly. 97 ships damaged, 23 destroyed, 15,000 soldiers dead or wounded. Zekthor felt sick. In one day, they had lost more than in their last 50 invasions combined. "Sir, multiple ships are reporting problems." "What kind of problems?" "Crew problems. The Tarlax refuse to fight. The Minori are requesting permission to withdraw. Even some of our own soldiers are questioning orders." Zekthor spun around. "What?" His officer looked frightened. "So the other species? They're watching the humans. They see how humans fight. With courage. With honor. They protect their wounded. They have rules even in war. And they never surrender." He paused. "Some crews are saying maybe the humans are right. Maybe the Empire is wrong." For the first time, Zekthor understood the real danger. Humanity wasn't just fighting back. They were inspiring rebellion across the entire fleet. Then something happened that changed everything. A Tarlax cruiser broke formation. It turned its weapons on a Vrak ship instead of Earth. "This is Captain Kelrax of the Tarlax 4th Fleet. We will not fight this honorable species. We will not serve an empire that attacks the innocent. Today we choose freedom." 3 more ships joined him, then 10, then 20. The Vrak's fleet was tearing itself apart. Zekthor screamed orders, but it was too late. The humans had done something no enemy had ever done. They had broken the Empire's control through sheer example. On Earth, humans saw enemy ships fighting each other and cheered. General Hayes allowed himself a small smile. "We didn't just defend ourselves. We started a revolution." The battle raged for 18 more hours. The longest, bloodiest day in human history. In the end, the Vrak's fleet retreated. Not because they ran out of weapons. Not because they couldn't win. They retreated because their empire was collapsing around them. Ship after ship defected or refused to fight. The Emperor's representative, Thane, was found locked in his quarters by his own guards, who said they wouldn't serve an empire without honor. Admiral Zekthor sat in his command chair. Defeated in every way that mattered, a transmission came from Earth. General Hayes appeared on the screen. He looked exhausted, bleeding from a cut above his eye, but he was smiling. "Admiral, I'm offering you terms of surrender. Zekthor should have been angry. Instead, he just felt tired. Terms: leave our system. Never return. In exchange, we'll treat your wounded and return your prisoners safely. We'll even help repair your ships enough to get home. Why? Zekthor asked. Why show mercy? We attacked you, killed your people. Hayes was quiet for a moment. Because that's what humans do. We fight like demons when threatened, but when the fight is over, we help the fallen, even our enemies. It's called being civilized. Zekthor felt something break inside him. He had been so sure the Empire was the greatest civilization in the galaxy. But these humans, with their rules and their honor and their impossible courage, had shown him the truth. The Empire wasn't civilized. It was just strong. There's a difference. I accept your terms, Zekthor said quietly. Then he added something he never thought he would say. You have my respect, General. And my apology. We should never have come here. Hayes nodded. Tell your Emperor something for me. Tell him humanity is joining the galactic community. But we're not coming as servants or victims. We're coming as equals. And if anyone threatens us or our friends again, they'll learn the same lesson you did. What lesson is that? Hayes smiled coldly. That humans are the apex predators, and we protect our pack. 3 months later, the galaxy was a different place. The Vrax Empire had collapsed. Dozens of species had declared independence, inspired by humanity's resistance. Some had even asked humans for help in building their own defenses. Earth's first embassy opened on a friendly alien world. The ambassador was Corporal David Kim, promoted and honored as a hero. His first speech was simple. We come in peace, but we come ready for war if necessary. We hope you'll be our friends, but we're not afraid of our enemies. The galaxy was learning a new truth. Humanity wasn't the strongest species. They weren't the smartest or the fastest, but they were the most dangerous because they combined strength with strategy, courage with mercy, and ferocity with compassion. On Earth, monuments were built. Names were carved in stone. The dead were honored. The survivors tried to rebuild their lives. General Hayes stood at one of those monuments, reading the names. So many dead. So much sacrifice. Was it worth it? Someone asked beside him. Hayes turned. It was Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the scientist who had built the gravity disruptor. Yes, Hayes said firmly. We proved something important. We proved that humanity deserves its place among the stars. Not because we're perfect, but because we never give up on each other. Above them, the first colony ship was preparing to launch. Humans were going to the stars, not as conquerors, but as explorers. As friends to those who wanted friendship, as nightmares to those who threatened the innocent. On a distant world, young aliens sat in a classroom. Their teacher was telling them about the war. Remember this lesson, the teacher said. There is a species called humanity. They come from a death world, a planet that tried to kill them for millions of years. They survived. They thrived. And when the galaxy's greatest empire attacked them, they won. A student raised their hand. How did they win? Were they stronger? No. But they had something the Empire didn't. They had hope. They had courage. They had each other. The teacher pulled up an image of Earth. If you ever meet a human, treat them with respect. They're not looking for war, but if you bring war to them, you'll discover why they're called the apex species. Another student asked, what happened to the Vrax Empire? It fell, destroyed not by weapons but by an idea. The idea that strength without honor is worthless, that power without mercy is tyranny. Humanity taught the galaxy that lesson. The teacher smiled, and the galaxy is better for it. Back on Earth, in a small house in Colorado, a little girl named Sarah read a letter. Her father's last letter. Tears ran down her face, but she was smiling too. Her mother hugged her. He was a hero, sweetheart. They all were, Sarah nodded. Mom, when I grow up, I want to be like Dad. I want to protect people. Her mother kissed her forehead. Then you will, because you're human, and that's what we do. Outside, the sun was setting. The sky was peaceful. No alien ships, no warnings, just quiet. But across the galaxy, the legend was growing. The legend of the species that lived on a death world and became the apex predators. The species that fought an empire and won. The species that showed strength and mercy in equal measure. The legend of humanity. And somewhere out in the dark between stars, other species looked at Earth with new eyes. Some with friendship, some with fear, all with respect, because the galaxy had learned its lesson. Attacking Earth was a mistake, the greatest mistake they ever made. The end.